Okay, I think that is us live. Hello, everyone. How are you all doing? Is it just as lovely weather as it is here in the UK? I mean, you can see the sheer amount of sun coming through could cause a solar flare or something. But yeah, how are you doing? Have you been enjoying your day so far? If you're in America, how awake are you? Hello, Jean-Luc. And I'm assuming that you can all hear me, hopefully. A balmy 8 degrees. God, no, it is. Oh, my screen has gone black. What if I just 22 here, which is frankly terrifying because that's like the upper limit of my threshold of like tolerance to heat. So if it gets any warmer, I'll be there with like a fan next to me for the entire stream. Um, yeah, so last time in the session in Pizza 1.0, we kind of like fine-tuned the plot. Like it's kind of like 90% there, but there's still a few things that we need to kind of get sorted. We looked at subplots and kind of how they fit through the story and were marked out, and we did a little bit of organizing of the nested entries and like subplot and codex entries, getting rid of some things, adding to some. We did a bit of chatting with the characters. In our new feature spotlight, I'm going to show you. So in the series selection, you can now see that we've got a history for the description of our novels. We have some changes to the mobile interface, keeping it more accessible. We can now see how many messages are on a thread, which I'll show you later. And as well, we have, what was I going to show? Oh, in the right interface, we can now format and make full width, which will make a nice difference. I think especially when like you've got a smaller screen and you want to kind of take advantage of all the space. I will zoom in just so everyone can see a bit better. Yes. 21 in the shadows here, feels hot as sauna when standing in the sun. Yeah, that's definitely how it is. I'm like, okay, close curtains. Like, I'm monitoring the internal and external temperature of the house and seeing which is cooler, to depend on whether we have the doors open or not. Okay, so the aims of this session are to kind of go over the final bits and use chat in conjunction with like the context options in order to solve any remaining problems that regarding character, props, and theme. And then we were going to push the AI models in interrogating the story to give us the plot and plan of action for small scale planning. So writing beats, for example, kind of getting those like nittier grittier kind of bits and bobs. Thanks in advance to Corey for a lot of the help he gave in looking over the prep for this session and his sage advice. I've just seen Jean-Luc's message. This isn't work. This is pleasure. Like I really enjoy doing these streams, and like I would have felt weird not streaming, you know. So no, this is all good. Okay, so my plan of in my like prep for this, I kind of thought, well, one of the characters we really need to kind of flesh out, and it's always such a weird term that, but one of the characters that I really want to kind of get into is Nicodemus. So he is both the mentor figure and also kind of is like a catalyst for a lot of the stuff that goes on in different subplots. And so I feel that it would be a worthwhile thing to kind of like chat with him, get some of the context, just have a play about with that. And then also I want to chat with Ciara, as through the story she goes from like kind of a more positive figure to kind of like one of the biggest antagonists in Delilah's personal arc. And so I feel that I really need to strengthen. And I thought that would be something fun for us to try on stream. You know, we can shout out questions, just, you know, give it a bit of a go. Oh, thank you, Kelly. So yeah. So I'm going to go into chat. I tend to default to using Sonnet just because it's kind of like a good balance between stuff. I don't think I'm going to ask chat to be Nicodemus. I kind of want to just play around with him as context, I think. So I'm going to use the context of the full novel outline. And so the first thing I want to do is kind of work out the relationship between the Archon and Nicodemus. I have some ideas, but I kind of need work fleshing them out. So I'm going to say I would like your help to expand on the profile for Nicodemus, particularly regarding his backstory. I will include some additional facts that I know for this character and would like your help tying them in together and fleshing out a cohesive backstory and profile. So anyone who wasn't here last week, what's your favourite pizza? Or if you are here last week, feel free to put it down as again. Okay. Facts. Okay, so when he was younger, the Archon used to hang around with the mechanics workshop, fascinated with technology. DeMarco and Nicodemus were friends. 20 or so years prior to the story beginning, routine upgrades caused a massive glitch in the Genesis Hydro Gardens. Food supplies were scarce. The Archon blamed attempts at new technology. Pizza Express Padana. Oh, okay. How much guilt does Nicodemus have? Okay, what other things? Oh my god, that sounds absolutely beautiful, Jane. Like, remove the tomato, but other than that, okay, so Nicodemus is a working relationship with Delilah's parents before they went missing. What else do we want to add? I think that might be enough for this first bit. Let's see what the AI says. Okay, you grew up in the working class, apprenticed from a young age, showed talent. Okay, paths diverge. System-wide glitch. This is, I don't know if this is, just interesting that it said Harris and Elodie when Delilah's surname is Harris. I don't know if that's played in with it or if that's something else. Interesting. So then what I'm going to ask is, how has Nicodemus's backstory influenced him in terms of personality, how he reacts to stresses and the like. I'm going to add that backstory stuff into his notes. Okay, let's have a look. Okay. Please summarize each section to one sentence each. Because I cannot be bothered reading that much and condensing it all myself at this moment. Okay. I'm happy with that. So I'm copying rather than extracting for this because Nicodemus already has a profile, if anyone was wondering. Let's make him a bit older. Okay, so no, I'm happy with that. I'm gonna have to work a little bit on the I'm gonna have to work a little bit more on it, but that's kind of like a promising, for goodness sake, a promising start. Toggle chat regarding. That kind of fills in, I think, enough of what I wanted. Quattro formaggi. Is that 4 cheese pizza? Copy. Markdown. I've already posted the link if anyone's wondering. Like, I've put it both on the description for the video and the chat. I don't know if I like those names, so I'm just gonna ask chat. Please generate 15 names for Delilah and Ciara's parents, fitting in with the name. Is it etymology? Etymology. I don't know if this is going to do particularly good. We're just going to say I just need some arbitrary names for now. Surname Harris. Oh my god, they're already suggesting the same multiple times. Lyra, Isadora, Leto. Okay, I see they've gone for a lot of like Greek inspiration, which I guess kind of makes sense, like the Delilah. So I can get behind that. Roman. Okay, I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna lump them together in one. I like Iona. And I'm gonna go John. Wait, is Ione like a... Okay, so it's not another version of John. That's fine. Okay, Ione and John. What was it? 10 years prior. They went missing. Was it 10? 10? 15 years prior. Let's go 10. Yes, they went missing 10 years prior. Okay, sweet. Now, chat with Ciara regarding her motivations. Given the age. Okay, I'm just going to briefly go on to prompt share. I'm just on the Discord group, looking for spaces. Spaces prompt. Analyze. I will also at some point try out my new snowflake prompt. Chat with your characters, there it is. Okay, which model do we want to try? And just see what we've already got for Ciara as well. Okay. Okay. Please describe what your life was like after your parents disappeared. How did you cope? What did you have to do? How did it make you feel? Oh wow, okay, it's gone proper like it's gone right shit. I've not really spoken about a guide to her things, but okay, interesting. Interesting. Okay, interesting. Because of this, I'm gonna play around with like the character profile a little bit more. Kira's tone and speech patterns tend to change depending on who she is speaking with. When with other rebels, she matches their syntax, but when with Delilah or at work, she tries to sound more like their parents. Okay, let's see how that changes things. What is your relationship with Delilah like? Given the age difference between you and the shift from siblings to pseudo parental role. Okay, so Delilah is like her dad, perhaps. Hello, Joe. Thank you. Oh my god, you're here with pizza. I mean, a woman after my own heart. Um, Okay. Okay. Why did you choose to join the... How has it affected you? When did you first join? How... I mean, pizza for breakfast is the best. Like, leftover pizza. Like, my only regret of going out tonight for pizza is that because I'm going out, I'll eat it all while out, and so then I won't have any pizza for breakfast. Whereas the takeout pizzas are so big that you can leave some for the next day, which is, you know. Oh, okay. So cutest thing ever. My husband, because we didn't have any birthday candles, as he came up the stairs with my morning cup of coffee, because this is the one day that I don't have to make my own drink. He lit a match and held the match up behind the cup of coffee as he walked into the bedroom and sang me happy birthday, and it was the cutest thing ever. And it was like, oh. I mean, the candle blew out. The match blew out halfway through the song, but that's not the point. The point is that, you know, he had a makeshift candle. Yeah, he is the bestest. Okay. I like... Okay. So, for how many years have you been a member? And then what are the rebels like? What are the rebels like? Who are you closest to amongst the rebellion? And now, what I'm going to do before I do that, if I go on to rebellion, I am going to, in the lore, add some nested entries. So we know in Undercity, Ciara is a member, Drew, Harkin, Kios, Oren, Ramos. Rebels. Are they an extended family or something else? And again, I'll include all these conversations on the Notion doc afterwards. Like, I'm kind of skim reading, like, okay, 8 years, that makes sense. So she'd been in her, like, mid-late 20s when she joined. Manji Bunch. Okay, the crew that she's in, yeah. Okay, so she has a lot of respect for Ramos. That's interesting. Um, oh, okay. She has a father-like relationship with Oren. I can see that. Oh, we're all rage-filled strays looking to burn the whole bloody house down. Oh, that's cute. Okay. Okay, let's see what I'm going to add from that into this. Ciara is closest to Oren. However, she has a great respect for Creel and what he has overcome. She sees the rebellion as an extended family, and the only ones that are willing and able to make a difference in Nova Basis. Paycount asks, hello Kate, in the chat, are you interrogating the novel's characters? If yes, how did you do that? Okay, so what I did, it's super simple. So I made a codex entry for the character that I want to interrogate. And then I went to just a normal general purpose prompt. I chose Claude's sonnet as a model. And then all I did was ask this, which I will put in the Notion document. So I've put it here so you can just copy and paste it in. Literally, that is all I typed in with the general purpose prompt. So there's no editing that you need to do. Just make your codex entry, go into the chat interface, and then you can chat with your character. I added from Space's version, please only reply understood if you understand the task, because a lot of the time I'd find that the AI would start off talking as them, and I was like, no, I want to try and start the conversation with my question. So yeah, that's what I did. Is there anything that you are resentful about? Or okay, is there anything you're resentful about? Injustice. Interesting, given the theme. I like that. I'm going to use that as an example of her speech. How did I do it for Nicodemus? Because that actually did work quite well. Speech and interactions. You're very welcome. Okay, I'm happy with that. What do you feel regarding... what do you feel... Or what is your opinion? Yeah. What is your opinion of Nicodemus and his relationship with Delilah? Okay. I mean, some things just I really like about her. Like, I really love how this shows like good attitude in a way. Like it feels very like distinct. Hello, Akello, how are you doing? I noted that you had a birthday stream the other day as well. So happy belated birthday. Thing. Oh, I like that as well. Yeah. No, I agree, Corey. Like, uh, she believes that Nicodemus is poisoning Delilah's mind against her. Um, she resents that he is able to provide for her sister. I mean, foreshadowing much. So, I like using these as kind of like a guidance. So I'll take bits, put them in the codex. I'll take some time kind of off stream to fully digest everything. But then it kind of like informs, rather than necessarily having everything for the AI, it's kind of informing me for what I see, and kind of want to put then in the beats, and kind of gives me ideas for then putting in chapters, and kind of it more kind of helps me as a director than necessarily me just giving it all for the AI to deal with. I wish we had like a tick mark. Can you tell me more about your parents, Iona and John? What was your relationship like with them? Oh, so and as well earlier when I said you can see how many messages are in a chat, they are just in these little wee bubbles. So if you go on the sidebar and go to chats, then you can see all of these things. Akello, if you're still there, what's your favourite pizza? You've not shared it with the group. Okay, so I'm adding bits here that I'll then have to turn into I'll then have to like make into a cohesive codex entry. I could have pinned this, to be fair. Should have done that earlier. Mum. I mean, to be fair, it probably should be Mom, given that it's American descendants, but okay, I like that idea that the dad was the scholar and the mum was like going around and yeah, okay. Okay, I like that actually. So Ciara pin motivations. That's giving me an idea for her motivations. Where is that? To ensure no one else no other child has to endure losing their parents. And I guess if that comes up multiple times, it's kind of helping to build that and kind of keep her, like, throughout, she has to believe that everything she's doing is for the greater good. And so it's kind of like her justification to herself. Akela says he enjoys a thin crust pizza with mushrooms, bacon, and ground beef. I'm also partial to a New York pizza with the same ingredients plus extra cheese. They sound beautiful. Like, I mean, frankly, anything with bacon on is godsend. But yes, sounds delicious. Okay. So that's getting about the parents. Okay, so now I'm gonna maybe go into a past chat. What would Nicodemus's opinions of Ciara be? Yeah, bacon makes the world go round. Like, one sec. The only bad thing about like spring in the heat is that hay fever season is starting. And like recently, like in the last like couple of weeks, I've just suddenly been given loads of pot plants, like flower pots, not like this kind of plant pot with the flowers. But it means they're now all over the house. And I'm worried that I might be, well, I mean, I know I'm allergic to plants. We're working on a dystopian, kind of like apocalyptic sci-fi. So this is like post-apocalyptic. There's been an ice age. Everyone's kind of migrated to kind of around the equator because it's the only place that's warm enough to survive. The very richest of society, when the ice age began, they bought up land around the equator. In this case, we're kind of like Amazon rainforesty area, and built their own like communities in order to survive. And we're kind of in one of these cities hundreds and hundreds of years later. Oh, Corey's read this before me. Yeah, I would think sad then, yeah. I feel like Nicodemus doesn't get angry easily. He's kind of like, you know, he's calm. Nicodemus. Pin. I'm gonna I'm going to condense a lot of these codex entries before I start writing. Nicodemus sees Ciara as reckless and radical and believes her actions will only lead to destruction. He is sad to see her take this path and tries to keep Delilah from it. As a result, he believes Ciara is trying to indoctrinate Delilah. At the same time, Nicodemus understands her radicalism stems from legitimate grievances. He empathizes, but she's allowing her anger to cloud her judgment. Her, by any means necessary, simply trades one form of tyranny for another in Nicodemus's mind. I mean, I feel like that is very accurate to how I've kind of pictured him. What do you guys think? Do you feel that the way the AI has kind of summarized him, I mean, so I'm for Jane, who was asking if we could get like a read-only version. Like, I'm totally happy for the Novelcrafter community to have access to this book, like in a read-only basis, if they want to kind of like look around everything, because I think it is a good educational resource to be able to like go with the live streams. I guess because normally you have to add everyone by email, like just in terms of normal sharing. So I don't know if there's something else we could do, but I know at some point like there was talk of having like an example book set out. So, I mean, to be fair, even if I do use this and publish it, like I'd still be happy for you guys to have like all of this as an educational resource, because you'd be able to see as well like how much AI versus not AI is getting used and everything. So it's a good balance. So, I mean, I have no idea about the technicalities, but like, y'all have my permission. Oh, amazing. Okay, yeah, I mean, yeah, Space, let's talk about this tomorrow or after the stream. But yeah, I'm happy with some kind of version. I don't know if you could do like snapshots of it at different save points, and we could have a series of them, like after each live stream, a new snapshot is taken. Yeah, I feel like yeah, okay, I can see that. Let's see what is in the codex, see if there's anything that's like fueled it. Okay, so like here's gruff and no nonsense and gets irritated by verbosity, cynical. Yeah, I think it's maybe like taking it a little bit further, but like I feel like a lot of the points feel interesting. Okay, so we have. Okay, so the rebellion the last thing I need to look at for characters. So what time is it? Okay, 15:50. Okay, I suppose if I can finish this, yeah, that's fine. Okay, so 15:50. The rebellion is also a key part of the story, but it's not fully formed. We don't know how big it is, how the group functions, etc., etc. So I'm going to go back into my Ciara chat. How far does it expand? What other factions are in it? Let's see if we can get a little bit more detail just to flesh out the rebellion. Okay. I like that it's taken the concept of Nova being kind of like business central rather than being kind of like old-fashioned like monarchy vibes. That might be something that I would want to explore in this story, because actually I think having the idea of like, I'm almost imagining now like a board of governors and stuff. Okay. It is a broad underground network in Nova Sauce and beyond its walls. They have members in every corner, from scrapper gangs to higher level employees. Little intercell communication. There are different factions, those handling covert ops, suppliers, medics, propagandists, etc., informants, etc. It has been growing exponentially over the last few years, eating away at the Archon's control. Okay. Jane says, I wonder if the AI is taking an archetype from other stories in that genre and might be feeding its ideas. That is highly likely. Like, there will be something in there, like the stereotypical mentor figure, maybe. I mean, the instant thing that comes into my head is Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, where Dumbledore says, Harry, did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire? Calmly. And it is not calmly in the movie. Like, that kind of, like, stuff. The Honey Bun says, seems to be very good for brainstorming when you don't know much about your plot or character starting out. Yeah, I think it's really good. Like, I love doing this kind of, like, talking for world building. Especially, like, when you don't know what the right question is to ask, because oftentimes it's, like, something that's said in the bulk of the text that then feeds into it. So I will copy this conversation for y'all. Markdown. And we can say that we have now done that. I'm just putting that instead of a tick. Okay. Props. So, if you've got a film and you've got a gun in it, if nothing happens with the gun, people are going to get annoyed. There are a lot of aspects in a book that cover physical items, and usually, if it's important enough to even get mentioned, then it's important enough to have significance in the plot. Like, you don't mention, like, the knife and fork a character has when they're eating, unless that fork then later gets stabbed into someone's eye, or, like, is used to, I don't know, pick a lock or something. So we want to ensure that the MacGuffins in the story have significance to the characters, plot, theme. Let's have a chat. So the things that I want to look at, the items or the work that Nicodemus is working on repairing, the item that Perrin takes from the vault, because he wants an item from the vault, an item that connects Nicodemus with the Archon, and the significance, like the backstory behind Perrin's weapon. So, are we on Ciara at the moment? Okay, well, let's go back on to Nicodemus. What secret projects are you working on with Delilah? What items are you making? Yeah, I feel like archetypes are there for a reason. So Jane asks, one of the things we need to be aware of as directors is like when to use archetypes and when to run from them. And I feel like archetypes are there for a reason. They are solid. They have that base point that readers are familiar with. However, if you keep everyone in their strict archetype, then it's predictable and like you can lose interest. So it's nice to kind of like subvert expectations at times, or have some aspect of them that is very different. Like, I don't know, you could have a sage mentor who's very wise, but also loves clubbing. Like they're actually, you know, in their mid-20s, they go out clubbing, but they're also highly disciplined in their work and they have a very good work-life balance. You can kind of do things like that. It doesn't stop them being wise. They might go out and when they're clubbing only ever have 3 drinks and have a limit and, you know, they still have fun. Or you know, they're completely teetotal or whatever. But what I mean is, like, you don't have to have them being, like, someone that stays in a library at night and or, like, you know, doesn't interact with others as a mentor. Like, you can have them be outgoing and an extrovert, but still be really wise and give advice to your protagonist. Oh, hello, Sammy. Oh, yes, my heart. Oh, I was telling everyone how you did my birthday candle earlier, and they thought it was very sweet as well.
Yeah, it was improvisation.
Hey, it was great improvisation.
I also couldn't find any of the many tea lights that we surely had.
Oh, they're under the stairs in a box.
That's why.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, it's like a little bit.
It's like a little bit. Yeah, no, it was very cute.
I'm glad people appreciate me.
Yes.
And you.
Yes, people always mention your cameos when you come in.
Yay. Have they seen the capybara? Have you told them?
No, I've not.
You should.
Oh. So yes, my husband put on I don't know if any of you have heard of the capybara song, but my husband has put on my whiteboard, kind of there, just lots of pictures of capybaras. And then
Day of the week.
one for each day of the week. So it goes like capybara, 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 and it's like a longer one. And then there's a tiny capybara in the corner that goes capybara. It's very cute.
Yay.
See ya. Okay, so yes, what are we an hour in? Okay. Why? Okay, Jane. Have the stage make a right. Yeah. The stage makes a right mess of things. maybe the sage is always hungover, but like in the sense of like you don't have to limit yourself to the archetype, but it's helpful to know what the archetype is, to know what readers expect, and to kind of have as your base point, because you don't want to go as something that's entirely the antithesis of it, because then how are they going to recognize it as a sage character? Okay. Sorry for the question. I wanted to know which AI program works better for horror, gore, and psychology. So I really like the Claude beta models because they are self-moderated rather than externally moderated. A lot of the times so we have an article on our documentation for the website that talks about the different not safe for work models that people enjoy using the most. So you could have a little look on there and see what settings are there. But I feel like unless you're going extreme, the Claude models, the Claude beta models are pretty solid. Gemini is also quite good according to some people, although that's also internally moderated, so it might just refuse to answer. Corey says Obi-Wan blames himself for Anakin and wants to not repeat the same mistake with Luke. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. Oh, I like the idea of them reverse engineering artifacts. Okay. Okay. How am I gonna... Oh, okay. Where is GD? Okay, object. Pin. Okay. I feel like radios would be the... Nicodemus and Delilah are working on reverse engineering radios in order to make rudimentary what's the proper name for a walkie-talkie? I'll just put... Oh, I'm glad you're enjoying using Novelcrafter. Like this has been a game changer for me, like since starting using it, and like that was less than a year ago, and I'm just like, oh, I'm in love. Yeah, communications device. I like that. I like the idea that they're and then I might put a lore entry in the Genesis district, and this is going to be about Nicodemus's research, and then within it I'm going to have a nested the radio is a nested entry. Nicodemus is secretly working on reverse engineering old technology so that he might repair aspects of the city. Oh my god, maybe it's like an old like record player or something, like some kind of like musical thing for what they share nostalgia for. He's also working on new technology based on the old. And is stockpiling supplies to prepare for if the technology completely fails. I like that bit about Delilah. Okay. So the radio one specific object Nicodemus is working on is the radio. What is the significance of this? How were Delilah's parents involved in helping him with developing communications devices? Is it a gramophone? I think, yeah. Is that how you spell it? No. Gramophone. In the Genesis district. One of the first devices that Nicodemus and DeMarco worked on together. They both have one and enjoy listening to old music on it. Although now I'm thinking like old music, like now we've had the resurgence in recent years, like Taylor Swift is just playing because that's old music that has a record. Okay. Hello, Daniel. Yeah, like a walkie-talkie, like a, you communicate and you're like, hey, how's it going? And then there's like, when you're a kid and there's like, you're down the garden and then you can hear each other's voices. Developing the radio is... Okay, I like that. Significance of the radio. Sweet. We have the item that connects. I'm going to say a gramophone connects DeMarco and Nicodemus. Why is this? Tell me more. And where it may play a part through the story. So if you notice that I've got for Nicodemus's chat the full outline, and so asking about where it's going to fit into the story, we'll hopefully use that to feed the answer. So we'll see. Poignant link to their failed friendship and happier times before the rift. When they were young. Found. Oh. DeMarco sees it as a symbol of humanity's former creative and technological heights. For Nicodemus, offered an opportunity to understand the past. Oh, I like that. That's... I think it depends on... So Victor is asking, when placing the stuff in the codex, does the order or organization matter? I think that's model dependent. Like some of the newer models isn't mattering so much, but in general, like I feel like the first and last things are in the entire prompt are often more heavily referenced to. So if you've got a lot of codex entries, then it's probably not going to matter as much. Daniel says, it's been a long time since the earlier session when we talked about the state of technology. So we landed on the technology that we have in present day that can kind of be fueled by like wind or solar or whatever. You can get, however, there isn't any new innovation, and that focus has been on maintaining what was originally there so that the state of the city hasn't improved. And because there's no way of getting new resources like new metals for like chips and stuff, or no factories for those and the like, it's kind of like development has just stalled. So if anything breaks and can't be repaired, then it's just lost. So it's more a stagnation of technology than a complete removal of it. So yeah, so I want this to get brought up more. So this could be a moment where you use codex progressions, like say Delilah's noticing of it. I'm gonna, in subplots, in the notes. I'm just going to put that there for reference. Okay. But I like the idea, and like it's a very visceral kind of like I can imagine like music playing in the background while like Nicodemus and Delilah are working on fixing stuff, and like Delilah has never seen anything like that before, and then suddenly it's like she sees one that the Archon has and she's like amazed. Yeah, definitely. Like the aristocracy keep the best stuff, but even it'll be slowly failing. So like they ain't gonna have any iPods or iPads 300 years later. Like the situation will be better, but more for like daily conveniences like air conditioning or like air filtration and heating and kind of like essential pleasures rather than entertainment. I kind of imagine Nova Bezos to be like a giant greenhouse. So like imagine like a glass bubble, a la Simpsons movie, that's over the city in order to both protect it from the harsh winds, but also to act as a bit of a heat trap when it's sunny. And so I can imagine that they have like vents and stuff to kind of maintain the temperature. But there's also, but like in the Arconical Cathedral, that's going to have more ventilation and better control than like the slums. And so probably time dependent, the city can get quite hot during the day when the sun is shining directly on it, but then it completely like becomes freezing at night, except in the areas where there's better temperature regulation. Okay, item that connects them. Okay, so now we want to look at Perrin. So I'm going to go back to Sonnet. So let's just check what Perrin. He wants to improve himself and yeah, exactly. Anything with yeah, I mean to be honest, anything battery powered probably is gone. And so you're kind of reliant on things that you can hook up directly to the grid. Yeah. So I can imagine like iPads with chargers or whatever, like, you know, something like you have to constantly be plugging things in to use them, even if you're like moving around. Okay. Where is the objects? I'm going to give it the context of the full novel outline. I'm then going into the plan just so I can have it as reference, and then I'm going to pin this conversation. Because I can't remember what I've written, basically. View card height full. Electric Gardens. From the vault in the So I'm asking, why? What did you take from the vault in the burning library, other than the maps? Why was it so significant to you? What purpose did it serve in later events? I don't know if it'll work. We can always retry, but I mean, that's cool, but not quite what I was looking for. So I'm just going to retry. Encrypted data. Okay, I mean, I'm not a big fan of the AI bit, but encrypted data could work. I mean, I'm curious now because I'm thinking, okay, well, if he's getting some, if he needs, like, help to unencrypt the data cache, maybe that explains further interaction with Delilah. Or maybe it starts off kind of as this business transaction and then keeps going. Okay. Ow, I just bashed my knee. That really hurt. Ow, 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 ow. Okay, okay, so Perrin leans back. Okay, so... New entry, object, data cache. That is in the ACD. AC? Yeah. Stolen from the burning library by Perrin and Delilah. This cache contains information about other cities in addition to world history and key data behind the history of Nova Bezos. Perrin's wife was a historian who discovered many of Nova Bezos's secrets / history. And wanted to publicize it, but was killed off to stop her. Was it / so I'm imagining that like the historian role is like it's kind of almost like a propaganda kind of thing, and then when she like learns the truth like through her genuine research, then it's kind of changes things. I mean, that's kind of the vibe of the other cities. I mean, they're probably like a little bit more tasteful, although a city that came from Elon Musk would have some kind of crazy name. Like it would be like, I don't know. It'd be like one of those like Wi-Fi passwords, like ZY3X capital F, and no one would be able to pronounce it. Okay. GP is just general purpose. Oh, I like that. Hand cannons. I do like the name Marlena. Has anyone else heard that in AI a lot? Marlena Arkin. I delved too deeply into the history of Nova Bezos and paid the price for it with her life. She was 5 years. What did you name the weapon? Okay, if you've not seen it, okay. We'll keep Marlena for now. I like it. I mean, a little bit iffy about the double A, like Marlena Arkin, but it's going to be used so little, like, it'll be fine. Yeah, I like that. Object Requiem. The hand cannon slash. He has saved. He only has 1 bullet and has saved it for this mission. Oh, I had the chat there before. Damn it. Okay. And we have the significance of Perrin's weapon. Mark down Perrin. And then let's get chats. Nicodemus. Pin. Okay. And our final section for today, theme. So here we're looking at like the overall theme of the novel, kind of the thing that runs through it, and then like the specific lesson that the novel's trying to teach, by which like we're not like whacking it down on the reader. We're kind of like, it's a thread that runs through the story. The theme's going to impact all of our characters, protagonist, antagonist, minor characters, but all will respond differently to said theme. So we've kind of, outside of this session, kind of gone through what we believe like the theme and everything is, but then what I wanted to do was use the outline and chat with like haiku, and we'll use the outline, but you could also use this with like your full narrative if it's a book that you've written outside of Novelcrafter, in order to try and analyze it. So let's start off with setting that up. So we're going to go chat, haiku, general purpose prompt, context, full novel outline, and then I'm going to say, I'll call this theme chat. What is the overall theme of this novel, summarized in you may give more than one option if there are multiple themes. Okay. So yeah, so I kind of, in my mind, the theme of the novel was kind of justice and kind of the different ways people go about getting justice and how effective they are, and how sometimes when people seek justice, it leads to more injustice against third parties and the like. So I think kind of the fact that it's got like resistance, revelation, morality, community, that kind of all fits in with that theme. Okay. So then I've put a little bit here of like, so I'm going to say, I'm going to put these, given that how do the following characters respond to the theme? So I'm going to put here Delilah, DeMarco, Ciara, Perrin, Nicodemus. Who else is like significant? Oh, see you, Jane. Yeah, we'll only be on for half an hour, so you'll be able to catch it up afterwards. But enjoy your dinner. Let's go Zora. Let's just leave it with those for now. I'm kind of curious. So this is just with haiku. So. Yeah, so DeMarco is the Archon. From DeMarco's point of view, the rebels are the unjust ones, threatening the stability and survival of what he's worked to maintain. DeMarco's disagreement with the rebels' concept of justice is the core conflict, as he's unwilling to relinquish his power and control even in the face of their resistance. Yeah, sorry, I called him by his first name rather than his title. yeah, Ciara has a highlighting the dangers of uncompromising approach to justice, kind of her tragic demise, as Claude so puts it. So yeah, Perrin's arc gradually involves him siding more with the rebels' pursuit of justice, even if his methods are sometimes questionable or self-serving. And I guess, and by the end, Perrin also sacrifices his want for revenge against the Archon in order to save Delilah from Ciara. So it's kind of like he has that kind of arc. Mentor figure. Okay, so yeah, recognized Nicodemus as a mentor. Yeah, so you can see here, it's using AI, you can really get a kind of in-depth look into how characters are responding to the theme. Like, there are definitely things that I would edit, at least for my personal, so I mean, I've put in the Notion document, what my thoughts were. And kind of my lesson is that in the pursuit of justice, you must balance the need for action with the potential consequences. In the we don't want the whole New York superhero thing. So I think the resistance is built up on this idea that the city is stagnating and failing, and they perceive that nothing is being done about it, and the city's just being allowed to die out. And so I think they're trying to take radical action in order to spur something on, not fully understanding the reasons why the city is stagnating as such. So it's more justice against the kind of the perceived repression. And there is repression, but in the sense that they don't, because there's not the understanding of why. So it's justice in their eyes. It's just, yeah. With haiku, we can see how the themes flows. How does this theme flow throughout the novel? Yeah, French Revolution style. Yeah. And it's there is always grayscale in these kind of things. There isn't if we could have a great, we know who's right and wrong, then, makes things a lot easier. But I kind of purposefully didn't want to make a specific grievance. This is definitely, authoritarian, but there's not a specific action that everyone can kind of rally behind in that sense. Yeah, I mean, Haiku's doing a great job. Okay, I probably should have... I'll add the chat again after. So, Ordinary World, theme of justice is introduced through the characters' everyday struggles, curiosity about our parents and suppression of knowledge, hint at injustice, the introduction of rebellion foreshadows the ideological clash. But yeah, I'll show how much I've spent and stuff after. As Delilah becomes more involved with the rebellion, theme of justice takes centre stage. Perrin's conflicted role, torn between privilege and desire for justice, adds nuance, challenging the simplistic good and evil narrative. Nicodemus' more cautious, pragmatic approach creates layers of complexity. Theme of justice reaches climax with the rebels' plans to disrupt the Archon's power come to a lead, leading to a violent confrontation. Ciara's radicalization creates a tragic arc. Perrin's revelations about the Archon's involvement in his wife's death and personal stakes further complicates. Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of Nicodemus embracing justice by, sacrificing himself to, save someone. Yeah, that was interesting to read. So I kind of see, or like the way I've written it is that there are different factions of the rebellion. So the leader of, we don't really see much of like an overall leader. The leader of the cell that Ciara is a member of and Delilah joins in with is quite moderate, and he's a former gladiator that's kind of like suffered directly under the regime. But it's kind of like a little bit more a smaller group of radicals causing a lot of chaos. Or at least in my headcanon, there was never instruction from above to do the final like destruction on the Genesis Hydra Gardens. But this kind of like radicalized group went and did it anyway. And so the rebellion itself was kind of mainly a low-key kind of affair until then, is how I kind of like how I thought of it in my head. Okay, so now what we're going to do, final bit, I'm then going to, in addition to this, context, scene context, and I'm going to select the last chapter. And this is because we're going to then start looking at the subplots and how they play in with the theme. So over the last session, after the last session, I went in and filled in all the subplots throughout the thing. I'll show you that in a moment. But you want to select the last item of the last scene in your story so that all the codex editions are read. So given all of this, how are the themes reflected in each of the subplots? SP1, SP2, SP3, and SP4. These are just aliases that I put because I didn't want to have to type out the whole thing. Now I realise I didn't even need the hyphen. I think I just had the hyphen in at some point. So let's see how this goes. Okay. I'll wait for this to... So fast. Okay. Subplot 1. Justice's personal redemption. Perrin's desire for justice is deeply personal, stemming from the Archon's role in his wife's death. His arc represents the theme of seeking justice through individual means. His methods are often at conflict, creating tension. His willingness to exploit activities to an end introduces a moment of moral ambiguity, which is kind of what I wanted. Like, Perrin overall is a character that is more in line with helping Delilah than otherwise. Like, he's not antagonistic to her, but he's not, like, morally great. So the Unknown City communications, Delilah's parents. Search for information represents a theme of justice as the pursuit of truth and enlightenment. There's the show of systematic injustice, the collective struggle for survival. The city's failing mechanics. The deterioration of Nova Basil's infrastructure and the characters' efforts to maintain reflects the theme of justice as a matter of basic survival and access to resources, technological oppression, and mentor-mentee relationship. Okay, represents the theme of justice as a generational struggle with passing of knowledge and principles to the next generation. Justice as revolution. This is, oh my god, this is so much reminding me of like GCSE English, where you then like take a book and you'd like break it down into like, how does the theme of justice show through all of this? Like, it feels very much like that, but just done at the beginning of the story instead of like centuries after it's been written. I don't know if any of you are suddenly getting like a flashback to high school. But I feel, yeah, that is a very apt summary of how it shows up in... Okay, what time is it? It is... okay, so we've got 15 minutes left. I'm going to quickly log into OpenRouter to show you how much we've paid for this entire session. If any of you have any questions about anything that we've done in this session, or any other general questions about Novelcrafter, about the story, about pizza, hit me up now while I'm doing that. Okay, so we've spent 74p, 73p, 74 cents. So $0.75. Most of that in Sonnet, probably because of the Nicodemus conversation having access to, yeah, because if you see here, 15,000 tokens was like that last message with Haiku. Okay, even though that was cheap. So what was my last Sonnet message? Yeah, so we had loads of like 10,000, 15,000 token contexts that, you know, were like 5p a question, which is reasonable. Like, you know, it's to be expected. But, you know, given how much information we kind of got out of it, like, I'm not unhappy with that. Oh, I didn't mean to screen lock, print screen. Okay, I'm going to go back onto the Ciara chat. It's actually, you know, the plan interface as well. Chats, Ciara. Yeah, I mean, like, Haiku is crazy cheap. Okay. What action in the Hydro Gardens were you planning in Chapter 4 that got you arrested in Chapter 7? And before I forget, I'm going to put the context in. Full novel outline. So one thing I've been trying to figure out is making... This is what Daniel's saying. One thing I'm trying to figure out is making individual character timelines from which to extract the moments I'm using to plot the actual story narrative. I mean, I guess you could, like, instead of doing it as a subplot, you could do, like, your character additions, like, throughout the story, like, in the same way that I did it for subplots. That would work if it's character timelines through the story. Is that kind of what you're meaning? Paycount says, I have a question. If I want to put a specific prompt for 2 entries in the system, how do I write the code? I mean, if I have like 2 entries for the story genre, how do I write the prompt? So you could, I mean, what I've kind of tended to do is just copy and paste the prompt and change the genre in it. You could do, let me have a look. I suppose you could do like get codex, story genre. Why isn't that working? Or or is it? Ah, it's double quotation marks. I'm sure someone will have said this before. But then, yeah, story genre. So then you could put you are an expert, and then this bit of code. Codex gets story genre. Cozy mystery fiction writer. Who knows how to keep the reader engaged and write thrilling prose. Ha! Spaces now said it. I told you. Someone had pointed it out, and the time lapse would mean I wouldn't see it. So yeah, you could put that in here. And then put your story genre there. That would be how I would go about it. Okay, let's see. What does she say that the plan is? Okay, so this doesn't quite work. So this is kind of more like what's going to happen towards the end of the novel. However, I do like the idea maybe that they were trying to steal some food. So I'm going to put that in. This is just for future Katie reference. The plan: steal food from the. Oh, not food. Steal food and technology to grow it. Because if they're going to then destroy the food, they don't want to make people die. I mean, I gave you an example, like I used it in a prompt, but I'll show you again. So, like, you've got your cozy, you've got your prompt. You're a you just put it in there, and then your story genre codex entry would have your description in it. Okay, so we have to grow produce from. They are doing this so that the people won't starve once the hydro gardens are destroyed. But that doesn't work because they get arrested. Okay. So I've got that. Message retracted. Delilah joining the rebels, the catalyst for her becoming 100%. Okay. I think I'd already addressed that. Yeah, I think I'd already addressed that. And I'd probably maybe have something as well related to okay. Yeah, I would make, so if I'm writing about a world and there's 3 cities, if they are considerably different, I would add a different codex entry for each city, to kind of keep them separate. And then, I guess, yeah, one for the world if there's other overarching details that you need for it. Oh, see you, Joe. Oh, thank you. I'm going out for dinner after this, going for a date, a birthday date. So I'm very excited, because, you know, pizza. But have a great day too. This is then due to the... And you can see how, like, doing some stuff earlier has then meant that I've already got answers to questions that I've kind of prepared later on. This is then due to the growing food stuff. Nicodemus would be cautious, especially given the past research and how badly it went. I'll look at the ball scene later. I don't have the energy now, and like we're almost finished. Okay, yeah, are there any final questions? There was also a story so far I plopped to the bottom for if anyone wants to read it. It's not really changed that much since. I think I've included everything that we needed. But yeah, does anyone else have anything to say? Oh, you're very welcome, Paul. But yeah, if no one has any questions, this feels like a right moment to pause and say goodbye to y'all. Oh, thank you, Corey. And Daniel, thank you, everyone. I will. Everyone, I hope you have wonderful food today and or nice weather. I will send a picture onto Off Topic of the pizza that I eat so that you can all be very jealous. Unfortunately, I don't think we can bring the pizza axe with us to the restaurant. But yes. Bye!